When you do this kind of things, you upfront demonstrate who you are and you tell people who you are and the level of your ambition and how seriously you need to be taken. And that is like a statement. I'd see in few years, I think this space being like a space of experiences and community where a lot of things would happen here, not just to work. Our community, by the time, massive adoption of blockchain technology. Everyone is carrying a ledger. Probably one of the other things would be to kind of have a portion of that building, or maybe another one, dedicated as a kind of station F for blockchain and Web3 startups. And you see how it looks today, and it's just like insane.
Yeah.
And like I'm seeing a lot of buildings. And this one is special for sure because it's ours. But yeah, it's crazy.
I don't work at Ledger, but I have a home at Ledger. I really want, we've had people coming by today that work in the community. They should always know that they have a space here. How do we actually bring to life what the building represents, which is world-class hardware, incredible partners that develop and build on top of Ledger, breadth of different types of communities, Parisians, Europeans, people coming from all over the world, affiliates who are advocates in our space, and all of the incredible creators and artists that utilize not only Ledger for, creative custody, but also are thinking about what we do as an emblem of bringing more people into the space through mediums that they recognize and understand.
After almost 3 years of careful planning and development, 106 Temple, Ledger's new headquarters, a historic building in the heart of the Marais in Paris, is about to open its doors and become a lively hub for community and innovation. Today, I couldn't be more thrilled to talk with Ariel Wengroff, Ledger's VP of Communications, and Réda Nafaa, the head of Workplace, both key figures in the development of this project, who will be telling us all about it and why this is a key moment in the history of Ledger. Hope you guys enjoy the conversation. So what does it feel like to be the Ledger studio? Finally, we're here.
It feels great. It feels great to be here. It was, it's like something coming to reality. And I like the fact that now we're playing with it.
Yeah.
And it will take so many looks and shapes.
Yeah.
Today it's a different setup, special events. Tomorrow going to something else. So no, I'm really happy and proud to see it like come into life. 3 years, so 2 years and a half, almost 3 years. So
yeah, it was a long journey.
It's quite something.
Long journey with many challenges.
Yes.
Take us back to the first moment you saw that building. What was that, stepping into that building? What was it like?
It was impressive. It was back 2021.
Yeah.
And the building was completely empty. There is a strip out that we do in the beginning, and you remove anything that is not necessary. You just keep the bones and structure. And it was massive because you see everything is empty, and you just have the walls and the beams and all that kind of stuff. And it's like triple height. It's massive, different, types, colors and stuff like that. It was like really as we say in like raw. That was crazy. And then you do a time jump, and you see how it looks today, and it's just like insane.
Yeah.
And like I'm seeing a lot of buildings, and this one is special for sure because it's ours. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really.
Was it scary? Like when you first spoke to Pascal and he told you about the vision behind it, and then you came and you saw the building in the state in which it was in. Because if people are going to be walking around that building in the next few days, and they'll see the pictures of what the building looked like in the basement
gallery. Yes.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I like crazy stuff. I like ambitious stuff, and I like to think, what do you do? Okay, let's fucking do it. I was not scared. I was just, being a little bit pragmatic and realistic. Sense checking, like, are we sure we're gonna do this? Because with the background I have and other kind of companies I've been with, or like so, you don't necessarily have to do this for a company of our age. This is without knowing our ambition, and it's quite a big project for a company like us. That being said, I don't see any other company that would go for something that crazy other than us. So
especially at that time of the market.
Yes, it makes total sense. And at that time with Pascal, we had so many other projects that were on the pipes. So, you're going to do this as well and this as well. Yeah. And then we had to prioritize, of course. But yes, that was the only thing to say, okay, are we sure we're going to do this that big, that crazy, that, but we're planning this for the next 10 years.
So what was the brief? Give us the brief. Like you sat down and then, what was the vision behind it?
Well, I mean, the vision, one of the things that was very pragmatic is that we want something crazy shit that when people come to us for our mission and for what we're doing, they don't have to envy any other sort of company like Google or Facebook, whatever, for the shit they have. So which means like we do make the same level of stuff or even better, so that when you put these two things, talents, people, devs and cool people, they just say, okay, well, these guys are really cool. They have a cool brand. They have a cool mission, a serious mission. And on top of that, well, they have an amazing HQ and they have all the other, benefits and cool stuff, etc. So the goal was to do something where if we were to be compared, well, in front of us, you could have the Google, the Facebook, the Apple, whatever, because we will be competing in the same area kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a building that reflects the company's ambition.
Yes, and I think Pascal wanted also something like, and he says it so many times, it's like, when you do this kind of things, you upfront demonstrate who you are and you tell people who you are and the level of your ambition and how seriously you need to be taken. And that is like a statement.
And obviously, the building is coming to life today. Gently coming to life. Tomorrow, we're actually recording this on the day before the official opening.
Exactly.
So, your teams are obviously, full steam ahead, preparing
is on the ground.
Upstairs. we're late in the evening, but the building's still busy. But let's take, a couple of steps back and tell me about like I'm sure there are many milestones along the way. What were the most, like, if you sat down with someone and you'd have to talk about like the moments that would transcribe from this journey, the things that are highlights, in the journey, whether they be challenges or key wins that you didn't think you were able to, get over the line. What stands out?
To be honest, so many things. It's like a marathon, so it was not like it's like not a run. You need to do very quick and give everything you have. You need to last to bring this to life. And we had a lot of challenges. We had a lot of issues. It was at some point tough. It was crazy. We had fun. We also had tears and sweat, but it's part of the entire thing. So I think it's a combination. I'm happy that we've managed to do things that we've done, thinking of some specific spaces of the building. Some didn't make it through the design, and I'm fine with that now. Some had to, and it was like a challenge to fight until we make it happen. Like some of the shit we have, I don't know if we can say, like the basketball court was a challenge. Like it's probably the highest basketball court in France or in Europe. I didn't check for Europe.
What's the height of it? Like which floor? It's the 8th floor.
It's the 8th floor, so it should be something around.
It's an amazing view from the 8th floor.
I think something around
a few hundred meters.
I think less. I think I don't know. Maybe 30 or 28 or a bit less, something like that. But it's definitely, the basketball court is very high, and it was a lot of challenges behind this because we wanted to do it proper, like a professional, compliant basketball court. So I think there was so many things.
You mentioned the basketball court, but there are a lot of like different areas around the building that people, like when they come in, they're usually like kind of very surprised by, the design that went into it. I think the brand identity really comes to life in a very distinctive way through the building. What are your main favorite things about that project? If you had like to pick a couple.
It's difficult for me to do that, but one thing that you said is very interesting and reflects in the design. So this project is probably 8 or 9 different projects packaged in one. Yeah. Usually what you do when you do an office, you do same design and you do it in every floor. Simple. I would say at some point efficient in a number of things, but our office has a different design in nearly every single floor. So it's like packaging different types of concept designs and their look and feel into one. So it's like the box inside the box inside the box. So we have a lot of cool spaces, and like we call them special spaces. And by the way, to that day, there is a secret room in the office that no one has figured out yet what it is and where it is. I will tell no more about this for now.
What's the purpose of the room?
I can say.
You can't say?
Yeah, we'll find out in few weeks or something. But until now, no employee has came across that room,
Okay. But it is accessible.
and it's very visible in
Okay.
the middle of the space.
Cool.
So anyway, we had.
Let's do the room hunt. It should be the next game, actually, for the workplace team.
I actually, in our design, it's hidden from a signage perspective,
Yeah.
and all that brand that we created with our brand team and Jules. It's called Room of Requirements. So it
Room of what?
Room of Requirements.
Okay.
Because it's like to Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah.
But it can unhide for a purpose, and you need to find a way to open it.
Interesting.
Yes.
I love this.
So it's locked and hidden.
Okay.
So back to what I was saying is that we had different type of spaces, and a lot of our spaces are special. This one is a special one. Gymnasium is a special one. The labs, the games room, the music room, and so forth. And there are so many cool things that we did include on that space. So a lot of them are favorite for me. I like this space. I like basement. Basement 1 is really a cool space entirely. Here, the gymnasium, the music room. I like Olympus for sure. And I like that little space above Olympus, the one
I love it.
you have 180.
Yeah, with the hung
Yes,
seats, you could see
exactly.
the whole view of the city from
Exactly,
it.
with this-
It's so nice just to have coffee
This is
there
cool.
and look at
Yeah.
the view. Interesting. Tell me about the biggest scare you had throughout this process.
God, I had so many.
The biggest one, the one that you couldn't sleep at night.
I had budget nightmares
can
because we
imagine.
had to fit in a budget. We also, our company, in the market, is up and down sometimes. So you need to be able to accommodate all that and keep the ship going through the storm. So we had to take difficult decisions. One particular time, I was afraid we would drop the entire project, and when knowing Pascal, he was rock solid, saying, "No, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go through whatever challenges, but you're gonna make it happen," and we did. But yeah, this finance was one of my nightmares and keeping me awake. Technical issues around the building were others. We had so many. Sometimes I was like, I would say, okay, this is not gonna work. And it was I always tell my team about a cool scene on The Fifth Element, which is one of the movies I like, where they are in that temple and they try to figure out a way or have the stones are working with the fifth element. And there is one of I think it's the priest, and he just stand in front of a rock and say, "We're never gonna make it." And then he blows on that thing, and they understand that it's fire, wind, whatever. So there were so many moments where it was so massive what was in front of us in terms of, okay, if we don't get that permit, if we don't get we did create a massive technical platform that is hidden under the rooftop, because we have a lot of needs, generators, all things for process and air conditioning systems, for cybersecurity, for infrastructure, all that kind of stuff needs more power, needs backups, need network and infrastructure. They need how do you call them, the backup batteries and all this stuff. So at some point you needed to have a permit from the city for that. And this was, if they say no, well, we have a cool building, we can't use it. So among many things.
I can imagine.
This
a
was
long
like-
list of things. What about your proudest moment? Whether it be feedback from someone or something that was really hard that you were able to get over the line.
I think there were a lot of good moments of proud. One of them was, I was a bit worried about if you don't do a project like this by yourself, even if you run it for a number of years. You work with a lot of people. I've literally spoke with a lot of people. A lot of them have given me maybe a detail of something and say, "Oh, this is a fucking good idea. Let's do this," or whatever. And you cross and you work with a lot of people. You can't do things by yourself. And I think one of the things I was worried about is, how will ledgers, when they will step in the first day here, will they feel home? Because the design, the look and feel, the emotions that we're going to give them and the experience we will build will make them feel that this looks like Ledger. They don't feel a weird vibe. They just say, we feel home.
Yeah.
And on the pre-opening for the soft FDOB, our first day of business, I was absolutely proud and relieved because I saw this on people's faces, that it was like speaking for itself. They feel home and they feel like this building is our building because it's so like us. And when they were starting talking about this, I said, okay, our job is done because we did make it happen and it's really our home.
Yeah. So now the building obviously is open for ledgers tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, it's going to be open for the public, and its story will continue from there on. It's actually Ledger's 10-year anniversary this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe that Ledger is a 10-year-old company, a 10-year-old French company. Most people actually mistake Ledger for an American
That's
company.
true. They all think it's a US company.
Yeah. So what do you think the building will look like 10 years from now? How is it going to, what do you wish for its story to kind of, develop?
Well, this building was designed to be ahead of time in terms of technology. In terms of like, we do create a lot of stuff here. One of them is a building operating system, a BOS, that controls the building and create both the experience for people. A lot of stuff is not completely done yet because it needs a lot of programming. Having that autonomy that help you create the best possible experience for users, but manage the building in a so smooth way and getting the building to do stuff ahead. Like, we already have these things that are so cool. People keep thinking, okay, but our building can control the beer tap. Our building can control ventilation when they detect that there is more people in the shower, so he gets the humidity out quickly. He controls the lift speed and see if there is something, etc., etc. So many other things. And the building would be able to, in an autonomous way, do a lot of stuff on our behalf. So technology is one of them, and we didn't yet start playing with AI. So we're going to add these things and make something cool. So I'd see in few years, I think this space being like a space of experiences and community, where a lot of things would happen here, not just to work. And this is already what we want to do. Our community, by the time, massive adoption of blockchain technology, everyone is carrying a ledger, etc. And probably one of the other things would be to kind of have a portion of that building, or maybe another one, completely kind of dedicated as a kind of station F for blockchain and Web3, where we
an incubator
incubate startups, all managed, all powered by Ledger, and we have this on top or inside 106 for the next years to come.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing dream. And something you said actually that is basically a reflection of the Ledger product itself. It's a hardware, but then it's constantly updated through software in order to make it better and more safe. And that's basically how you've designed the building and how it might keep evolving in the future.
Yeah, we are ahead of the curve, but the building is so agile and so flexible that I think in few years it will still look cool.
Yeah.
And will still make, think, change, evolve, transform, make it like a living space. It's just not static. It's really dynamic. It does what we want to do, and it goes with us where we want to go, because it's just not a simple building. It's way more than that.
I guess that's how we're going to wrap it up. Réda, this is amazing. Thank you so much for the work.
You're welcome.
I'm really excited to see this building come to life.
Anytime, it happens that I work here.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're welcome to come anytime.
If you want to invite me for another one, happy times.
I'd love to have you.
Really cool to talk to you.
We're going to take a break. We spoke with Réda about the story of the building and how it came to life. And now we're going to speak with Ariel about the launch event and how communities and culture are going to be part of the 106 building. How does it feel like to be in the Ledger studio?
Honestly, this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
Before I joined Ledger, the first time that I hung out with Ian in person after talking for a few months on the phone was in Malibu on the beach. And he said, come stay with me for the night. And I was like, yeah, which could have gone in many directions. And we went on a hike and we were talking about like what things could be like. And we were both like, we need a studio. And it's crazy to have made so many iterations of it, and also to see you take it and make it yours and bring it to life. It's so exciting. So it's like actually really thrilling. When I came in yesterday and saw you all in here, I was like just completely kind of overtaken by it. And also the screens remind me of being back at Vice. Like it's a proper studio. It's pretty impressive.
3 years later, it comes to life.
Yeah, well,
in a building.
Good things come with time.
Exactly. Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have waited for this. We've also been waiting for the opening. So we're, the studio is within a building that's actually kind of an icon in terms of this kind of this milestone in the story of Ledger, right? Like it's Ledger's 10-year anniversary. This building is coming to life, and with it a lot of different things. So what does it feel like actually to be celebrating, Ledger's 10-year anniversary with the opening of Ledger's new headquarters? What does it mean for you personally, but also for the brand?
It's really special. Pascal, our CEO, has been speaking a lot about the fact that everything seems to be lining up. And for us to be at a point where, it's our 10-year anniversary. We just launched Ledger Stacks and Ledger Flex. We've been able to have an incredible international expansion. We've shown strength and resilience over a really tough period of time. And then you walk into this building. And I remember, joining Ledger and honestly going to the old space and feeling like, oh my God, I just moved to France. Like, what is this? What did I do? But you feel this threat of what's to come. And so finally walking in here and seeing all of the hard work, when I walked in, I said, oh, like, this is the company I joined 3 years ago. And I now finally feel like we're able to represent the ambition and also the strength that we have as a global company. And knowing that we're going to be able to foster so much more, not only for our employees, but for the community that we're so dedicated to, is really empowering. And it's amazing to even see and feel how people are conducting themselves differently being in here. Like suddenly people are sort of seeing like, oh, no, like you carry this weight now. Like this brand, this company, this business are the things that you make of it. And so even for the studio to now be live and for it to be exceptional, right? Like we're choosing to make things the best they can be, and opening this to the public feels like a perfect embodiment of that.
Yeah, and I agree about the fact that it really like kind of gets people to act in a certain way. Like when you have a certain level, you have a certain standard, the standard of the building, it really like kind of gets you to when we were building the studio. And then, I really want to give a shout out to the team, because like all of these guys have been scrambling for the past, couple of weeks in order to get everything ready, at the right time. But I think it's also like driven by the fact that there's a standard of execution right now that's happening across the company and across the building with the products. And it really drives the different people to kind of try to, overachieve in terms of what they can deliver. But, and speaking of that, not to put any pressure on you, but you have an event tomorrow, and we're speaking obviously on the evening before the event. So tell us, how's the preparation going? And, give us an introduction actually about the event. It's like, what is it about? What's going to happen? And run us through it.
Well, first of all, I echo that shout out to the team, because it's an incredible team from us and from others at Ledger that are making everything come to life tomorrow. But essentially, a few months ago, we did an event that celebrated the new building for employees, and they got to really participate in that and have time where it was kind of their best kept secret. Now, tomorrow, we are opening in Paris for the general public. And when we approached this event, we thought, how do we actually bring to life what the building represents, which is world-class hardware, incredible partners that develop and build on top of Ledger, breadth of different types of communities, Parisians, Europeans, people coming from all over the world, affiliates who are advocates in our space, and all of the incredible creators and artists that utilize not only Ledger for, creative custody, but also are thinking about what we do as an emblem of bringing more people into the space through mediums that they recognize and understand. And if you look at that list, you could think that's an impossible list to marry. But then we thought, no, we have an office that actually represents all of those things. And so let's create a curation through our incredible 9-story cacophony of a building that brings people from the cafe to the best rooftop view in Paris, all the way down, and showcases what we do best. And so in the past, we've held Ledger Opens, which are really a celebration of our key announcements and initiatives with those types of folks. Now we're actually taking that style of event and bringing it to 106. So firstly, we're really proud that we're going to have our cafe turned into the Art Blocks Engine Cafe, which is a wonderful partnership. And honestly, I'm so excited about it, because I remember initially talking to people about the idea when I was talking to Ian, and they were like, there's no way they're going to do it. Like, there's no way it's going to happen, and we come from a background where, nothing starts with no. And so we've made it happen, and we're so grateful for that. And then we'll have great panels in the afternoon. We'll have tours throughout the day. We're going to have lunch. We're going to have yoga from the wellness studio and a game of pickup basketball on the 8th floor. It's nonstop. And then the second day will be purely focused for our developers. So in the same way that whenever we do an open, we always have some kind of dev workshops and hackathon, this will be no shortage of that. And over the last year, we've done such a great advancement of initiatives related to our operating system. So being able to have developers that are focused on that and honestly oversubscribed in attendance just shows the progress that we've made over the last few years as well.
Totally. And it's super exciting to see like the number of people that are flying in from different areas around the world.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised because everyone, when you talk to them, is like, it's on fire. Yeah. Ledger's amazing. But actually, that's
heartwarming.
Is really heartwarming. Yeah. And you take that responsibility. Like, you don't want them to have a bad day, and you want to show that we continue to see the space differently and that we're providing something that no one else will.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's also really exciting in the overall programming is the variety of different things that are happening around the building. And that really speaks to what the Ledger brand is all about, which is basically a brand that is at the center of the ecosystem and that really gets to work and collaborate with, all the different colors of the crypto and blockchain space, from we're mentioning art blocks. Obviously, for those who don't know art blocks, it's the first generative art platform to come to life. We'll have like incredible artists, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot happening with the developers and everything related to Ledger's open platform and the things you can do with the software. And then there's so much that's going to also be highlighted in terms of like culture and having key people not only from the crypto space but from the tech space and the finance space as well come in and participate or contribute to that launch event. What is the thing that you are focused on the most in terms of like the thing that you want to come out of these 2 days with? If there was like, what does success look like after these 2 days? That would be the question.
Well, first I want to double down on what you said before, because nothing we're doing tomorrow or the day after is new.
Yeah.
Like, all of these are partners that we've worked with before. They trust us, they believe in us, and we're continuing with them, which is really important. Success to me is that people leave and they know, number one, whoa, Ledger's been around for a decade, and they're one of the fastest and strongest growing companies, not only in France, but in Europe. And I can't wait to see what they're doing next. Like, they are futurists, and they're solving problems for us. And second is, I don't work at Ledger, but I have a home at Ledger. I really want, we've had people coming by today that work in the community. They should always know that they have a space here for programming, for education, to host things. Like, we've seen so many projects from the beginning before they had really a cent to their name and find a lot of success in the space through hard work. That grit is where it's at. And so if we can provide space for people to do that and see what can come to life, I think that's amazing. And so much of what we're doing in our space is kind of fake it till you make it. Like, you have to get people to understand, like, this is coming. And I really do believe in that sort of like futurist mentality. So I really hope that people walk away thinking my event, my activity, my podcast recording, my anything, my X, would be better with Ledger. And also, we have a space in the lobby that, the exhibit with Art Blocks Engine is going to continue until December. But we'll always have something in the public part of the lobby that passerbys who are visiting Paris can actually come and experience. And so I want everyone to kind of spread the gospel on our behalf.
And it really starts becoming like more of a hub, right? Like, it's a cultural hub, it's a community hub.
Totally.
And the number of people I've actually invited to the building in the past few months, and they just come in and they start having ideas. Like, I was speaking with, a couple of people today about what we could do for key events that will be happening in the next few months. And it's just like, for us, at least, it's also a pleasure to be able to like partake in the development of local communities. And not even that, because we're getting requests from people that want to be hosting like hackathons that aren't even based in Paris. So
totally. People are like, oh, I'm going to do something that's in Paris or in Europe. Like, it must be at Ledger, right?
Yeah.
And the building hasn't even opened yet.
Yeah.
So the possibilities are kind of endless, and that's exciting.
It is. Maybe speaking a little bit more about like the building itself, what would be like kind of your favorite parts of the building, and kind of why?
So I used to work in media, and when I was at Vice, I was actually there when we moved from a tiny office where, literally this happened, where I came and entered the building, and 2 weeks later I came back and there was a new entrance to the building. Like, they were basically cobbling together all of these places in Brooklyn to make space. And so when they moved into a new office, they thought, okay, and it was actually Spike Jonze, the director, who said, every part of this building needs to be able to be filmable. So even the way the glass walls were curved, it was so that there would be no glare if there was a crew doing it. And that was like so perfect for what it stood for, which was a content creation, like news hub as a space for young people. What makes me excited about the Ledger office is this is very much a space for people to build. Like, we are a platform. And so my favorite place is actually the roof, because it's the best view of Paris, bar none. It's really hard to find a high building here. And my second best thing about it is every single person that I've brought so far says, I can't believe this is in Paris. Like, it looks like the type of company that is a global company. And in order to be a successful platform, you have to actually evoke that. You can't be in the shadows. You have to make a stand.
100%. And I think, coming back to the 10-year anniversary, obviously Ledger's, evolved so much in the past 10 years. But, you and I, we both joined in the past, 3 to 4 years. And the company's evolved so much in that time as well, right? And I think, compared to when we joined, we kind of probably had a lot of like resources, but we didn't have the infrastructure. Today, we have the infrastructure to build a brand, to create content, to host events, as we were mentioning, starting with, the opening event that's going to be kicked off tomorrow. Where do you see this going in the next 10 years? It's Ledger's 10 years old. So what about the upcoming 10 years?
Yeah, well, it's a good way to frame it, because so many people focus on the content but not on the pipeline. We focused on building the pipeline, so now we can do more of the content on top. I believe that this is the start of something. This podcast, this space, this video, like what you've done with the Academy, like for those who are listening and don't know, Mo actually started our Ledger Academy and education program, which is now the third largest globally in the space. Our glossary work, all of these things.
Sometimes it's the second.
Yeah, that's right. Ambition. It'll be the first. In 10 years, it'll be the first. But I really believe that we, on our side, on the brand side, will likely have an at-scale education business. I believe in that for us. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. I think there'll always be free content, but actual curriculums for that. And I believe that Ledger in 10 years will be securing your identity. Right. So I think that it'll be very common that people will think about Ledger because it might be securing your passport. It might be securing your Bumble login. Ledger kills catfish. That's a headline I'd love to see in the news. And so I think in 10 years for the brand, we're going to have this interesting complexity where we will be at the beginning and the end of people's kind of joy and peace of mind. And I always describe a brand as you don't want to feel cool. Because if you're called cool, that means there's a beginning and an end. As a brand, I think you always want to be alive because you're constantly iterating with the needs around you. So I can't predict the global needs around us, but I do think we have a very good sense of where things are going in terms of identity verification. And it continues to be our job to make that not feel scary and to feel aspirational and really iterative.
Perfect. Well, I know you have a long evening ahead of you, so I don't want to hold you down too much, but good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
And thank you for, coming to the Ledger studio.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think we'll have you back multiple times.
The beginning of a long friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you for listening and watching to our Ledger podcast in our newly launched format. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow the show wherever you're listening to it. We'd really appreciate it because it'll help us help you make the best out of our content.